let's try to look at this special exam question. So if you want to join my WhatsApp tuition or online tuition, you can text me on WhatsApp on this number here on top. So the question is saying figure 1.0 below shows the components of blood. So we have blood components here from A up to D. So before I answer the question, let me just try to explain a little bit so that you understand. So the components of blood represented by A, they are called the platelets. So we have platelets, which is A. These platelets are very important in blood clotting. So they are important in blood clotting. When there is cut on the skin, these are going to be there to help in blood clotting so that they reduce the bleeding of blood. Then for B is just a clear part. So this one is representing a plasma, okay, or blood plasma. So plasma is made up of plasma proteins as well as water. So it is divided into two components. So we have water as well as plasma proteins. Plasma proteins. So these plasma proteins, in terms of the function, they are involved in the transportation of one, oxygen. So in this case, just 2% of oxygen is transported in plasma. Then other things in terms of the nutrients, they are also transported in plasma. Nutrients. As well as waste metabolic substances are also transported in plasma, like also the hormones, they are also transported in what? In plasma by binding to the plasma proteins like albumin. Okay, I can give an example of albumin as an example of a plasma protein. So those hormones, they are going to bind, like thyroxine hormone. For it to be transported, it bound to albumin in small amount. So transportation of waste materials. Then for structure or part C is representing red blood cells. So let me just use RBC. So these red blood cells, you know to say that these, they transport oxygen. Apart from transporting oxygen, as well as carbon dioxide, so transporting oxygen from the lungs to the tissues, as well as transporting carbon dioxide from the tissues after respiration to the lungs for excretion. Apart from that one, the red blood cell, it has this cell membrane. That is where now the antigens are found, the antigen. Okay, the antigens are found. Then for structure D is representing the white blood cell. Now to be specific, this one is called the phagocyte because of the lobed nucleus. Let me say not robbed but lobed nucleus. So this one is the phagocyte. So it is involved in the phagocytosis of the pathogens. So in short, this one is mostly involved in immunity. So we can say immunity or immunity defense or mechanism of immunity defense. We can say that. So question A is asking us to identify the components of blood. A, let me say B, C, and D. So for B, we know to say that one is plasma. So we can say plasma. Then for C is representing the red blood cell. So we have to write it in full. Red blood cell. Then for D is representing phagocyte. Okay? But you have to say phagocyte, or you can say white blood cell. White blood cell. Alright. Then for question B is asking us to explain the function or functions of component or components of blood A and B. So for A, we have said it is platelet. Then B is plasma. So what is the function of A, which is the platelet? So we can just say it is involved in clotting. It is involved in blood clotting. Then from there we are done for blood clotting. Then apart from that one, for B, which is the plasma, so for plasma you can say transporting nutrients and waste metabolism, or waste metabolic nutrients and waste metabolic substances. Then for question C, it is asking us to explain why a bone is considered to be a living tissue. 2 marks. So a bone is considered to be a living tissue. 1, the bone contains blood vessels. Here I'm just giving you as an example. It contains blood vessels. Apart from containing blood vessels, it has also the bone marrow. Now this bone marrow produce blood cells. So most of the blood cells are produced by long bones. Okay. So the reason why it is considered to be a living tissue, you know, to say that a living tissue, it is supplied by blood vessels. So we can say it contains, or it is supplied by blood vessels, or it contains blood vessels. Then apart from containing the blood vessels, it can get affected by bone marrow cancer, as well as tuberculosis, which is also TB. So it can get affected. By diseases. Okay, by diseases. Then apart from getting affected by diseases, it also produces blood cells like red blood cells, platelets, or in short, that is where now most of hematopoiesis take place in the bone. So produce blood cells. So when I say hematopoiesis is a process now, the general process by which now blood cells are produced, whether white blood cell or whether red blood cells. So that's all for this video, and remember to subscribe and share this video to your friends if you find it useful.